The Outer Worlds is a game that's far better than Starfield in more ways than one. Now, normally I would hate comparing two games because that means that usually you would have to tear one down and lift the other one up. Like in this case, I'm tearing Starfield down but lifting up the Outer Worlds. And I hate doing that, but I have to. They both work together. They're both hired by the same company, which is Xbox, or Microsoft, may I say. So you've got Obsidian and you've got Bethesda working together, and it's like you got to compare them. It's only a matter of time before you do. That's like having two brothers in politics, right? And maybe they're on the same side or maybe they're not on the same side, but you can't help but compare them. You're going to go, "Oh, well that guy, you know, it has better policies than his brother," or whatever the case may be. So normally I hate comparing things because I don't feel like I have to tear something down in order to tell you that a particular item or product or thing is good, right? I can just tell you it's good without damaging someone else. But in this case, like I said, it's like unavoidable, right? Because Obsidian has deep ties to Bethesda, and Bethesda, the elephant in the room would be Starfield when I'm talking about the Outer Worlds. They both have, they're extremely similar. They both have typical, not typical. They both have comparable combat. They're both out in space. They both require spaceship travel and all of the trimmings that space entails, right? Lasers and you know, spacesuits and corporations, maybe overstepping their boundaries like they usually fucking do, even in real life. So I find myself, I ended up dropping like, I've said this before already. Now I'm gonna go back and actually look. How many hours did I drop on Starfield? Where is it? I know you're here somewhere. Wow, 233. I was gonna say 140 something hours on it, but I put significant time into this game and I finished it. Most of the side missions, I towards the end it became unbearable. It really did. Like I could not wait to finish Starfield because it got so boring and so repetitive. And I can't knock it too much for two reasons, right? Because when I played Starfield, it was during launch, and we all know once when you play a game at launch, that is never the final product. I don't care what developers tell you. I don't care what critics tell you, and I especially don't give a fuck about what influencers tell me. Even if a game is in its alpha state, maybe I don't know anything about the inner not the trimmings, the inner workings of a video game company. So alpha would be its final release. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like once a game is out of early access or a beta or whatever, like once you get that 1.0 and the game's officially released, at least in 2024, that is not the complete game. It's the complete game in a sense that like, oh, we're probably not going to add any more mechanics or level designs or characters or anything of that nature, but we got to remove bugs. We can add more characters. We can add to the mechanics in the systems, but we can't add actual mechanics in systems. Excuse me. So whatever. What I'm saying is, like, there is no way you can tell me that an official release is the final release. So with Starfield, I played it during launch, which is definitely not the complete version, right? A lot of performance issues galore. One of my biggest complaints, I already told you before, was that like I don't know if it was hubris or I don't know if it was mismanagement, but like for months, we did not get any sort of patches or updates to the glaring performance problems. Like you needed to run this shit on a NASA computer for it to run even decently. I had to put mine like on medium settings with the help of like, FSR, like just to get it to run at 60. And that's not even a stable 60. It was just mostly 60 from time to time. So and my computer is pretty capable. It's not no fucking beast, but it's definitely more than capable to run a game like Starfield. So that's one thing. That's one of the reasons. It, it's it was not finished, so I'm trying to cut it some slack. And also, it got advertised as this huge game, and people are like, how can you get bored of such a game with all these endless possibilities, and you have all these places to travel and all these things to do? But in reality, it's like you're gonna get tired of something even if it changes. I'm not gonna say remains fresh because that's hard to do when you're playing a game for 100 plus hours, right? Like it's hard for a game to remain fresh. You're gonna know its mechanics by then, and even if new things get introduced, you're still like, okay, I know what to do. Even though this is a new challenge, I know what to do. But it's difficult for games to remain fun for such a long time, 100 plus hours. But I mean, it's totally possible, especially with like MMOs. You can play that for thousands of hours. And it also depends on you, the person, your character, your personality traits. There are some people that can play a single player game for thousands and thousands of hours. I know some. One of my buddies, he played Fallout 4 for I think like close to 4,000 hours or something along those lines. It was kind of crazy. So I find myself thinking about, the Outer Worlds, which this video is about, and I haven't talked about as much. Uh, I'm playing it now, and I'm enjoying it just like I enjoyed it the first time. I played it the first time on console. I finished it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I had some criticisms. The game did feel like, I'm not gonna say bite sized, but like how they say large open worlds. This would be like a medium open world. Like it always felt like sort of linear. It didn't feel like you can just fully explore an open world. It just feels like everything is cut up in segments, and you kind of just you go through that segment, and then it kind of feels like an open world, and you go to another segment, and that kind of feels like an open world, but it's really not. It's hard to explain. I'm sure there's a better phrase, terminology that I can use to describe it, but anyways, that wasn't even one of my biggest complaints. The combat became repetitive and easy. I would say that was my biggest complaint. The writing was awesome as usual. It's Obsidian, of course. They make great dialogue. I could write some good shit, and I find myself being bored because I had it on normal. I believe I may have had it on hard. No, maybe normal. Now I'm playing on Supernova, and it's challenging in more ways than one. But it's still like right now I'm at a point where I'm doing the DLC, the Gorgon DLC, and it is becoming rather easy because I've dumped all my points. I've spent a lot of time building a specific build. Like I'm not wavering from that build. I'm dumping all the points on where I have to dump my points at, and I believe that's been my lifesaver in supernova mode, which is pretty difficult. You can get killed quickly by enemies, but I've also been tinkering a lot more than I did originally in the first game on the workbenches with my guns, with my armor. I've been fine tuning everything from my character development to my actual weaponry and armor and all that. So I believe that I'm doing the right thing to finish this game, and I've been enjoying it. The difficulty has been a lot better, so probably should have played on Supernova from the beginning, honestly. But that's also been a complaint that I've seen some people online complain about. They said the game was pretty easy on normal mode, and you know, now I've said this a million times before, but like Arma like turned me out. After playing a game like Arma, you feel like you can play anything on hard. That game is fucking hard, even on easy. So in a way, that's brought a lot more joy to my video games. Like right now, me and my friends are still playing Ghost Recon Wildlands, and we're enjoying the hell out of it. And we got it on extreme difficulty, which is the hardest difficulty. We turned off the mini map, and we're running around. We're having a blast, except for this fucking Sam Fisher mission that we spent literally 3 days trying to beat. We beat it yesterday at like 2:30 in the morning. But it was I feel like that mission, that particular Sam Fisher mission, was not built to be played on extreme mode. I'm pretty sure if I played it like on normal or an easier mode, I would get a better balance. But the balance, the difficulty balance was just fucked up, man. It was just totally unfair, aggravating. I find myself yelling at the fucking TV. So, anyways, just getting PTSD thinking about it. But we beat it. We finally beat it, and I'm having a lot of fun playing the Outer Worlds on a higher difficulty. I would like to definitely admit that right now, the main reason I started playing the Outer Worlds again, it's because the last time I played it was close to launch, which was 2019, 2020. And like I said earlier, that's never the final version, even if they say it is. So as time went on, it just so happens that I got the Spacer's Choice Edition, which is basically all of the DLC as well as all of the graphical upgrades and the bug and the patching, the bug fixing. So I got like the complete version of the Outer Worlds, and it's been a joy. I've been playing it. How long have I been playing it so far? I'll give you the exact numbers. 56 hours, 56.7. So about 57 hours I've been playing, and I'm going to drop some more because right now I'm in the middle of the Gorgon DLC, and I'm going to do the murder on, what is it? Ariodos? I can't say that word. So it sucks because I originally was going to wait until I finished both DLCs to give a full, complete review of the game, but, it's been a while since I, dropped one of these little podcast videos, so I figured, like, let me just talk about it even though I'm in the middle of just one DLC out of two. Uh yeah, they're not lying when they say this is definitely the complete version for the most obvious reasons because it is. You've got two big pieces of DLC that are, into this game of the year edition essentially, and also you've got all of the bells and whistles, the performance issues are being ironed out, bugs are being ironed out. So, but it feels complete in the sense that, like, it runs much smoother. It looks way more beautiful than what I remember. The colors are really vibrant and they pop out. Although I'm not crazy about super bright poppy colors. Sorry, because I don't know. Kind of reminds me of like Fortnite. No offense to those who play Fortnite. I'm just saying, like, I'm sick and tired of seeing serious franchises turn into Fortnite with these like super bright colored skins. I'm like, oh yeah, totally. Yeah, and in the military you would run around. If we're really at war, you would run around with a neon green gun. You know what I mean? Totally. That does not compromise the camouflage at all. Not one bit. Yes, I know I have to understand it's a video game and it's supposed to be fun, and I get it, and I do. And I do. That's why I don't shit on it a lot, but still there's just something fucking dumb about a full guy in tactical gear from head to toe, and he's got like a golden like pink gun or something. I'm like, this is so silly. Anyways, basically Fortnite ruined the use of saturated colors in video games for me. So everything looks good. It looks much better. I see more effects. I see, if I'm not mistaken, there were times, maybe I'm wrong, but in the first game, you would have to pick between a list. And when I say first game, I mean like the first edition of the game that came out in 2019 before the Spacer's Choice Edition. There were like scenes in the game where you would talk to someone and it would play out in action. Like it'll say, punch this guy. And then you would click that and it won't show no punching, nothing, but the guy would kind of just look at you straight face and go, ow, why'd you hit me? And you're like, you have to use your imagination. Like, oh, okay, I guess I hit him, even though it didn't show it. And this edition, it actually shows like a white flash and a guy kind of reeling from getting hit. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. They added, it's a little more realism to it, which I appreciate. I always love details like that, little tiny quality of life details. I'm a big stickler for that. So so far I want to say halfway through the Gorgon DLC, maybe not. I have no idea how long this Gorgon DLC is. I jumped in blind. I don't know if it's any good. I don't know if it's any bad. But if I'm dealing with Obsidian, I am confident enough to tell you that both DLCs. I've already finished the game, the base game, a while ago, but I have not played both DLCs, and now I am. Maybe I should have said that. Maybe I did say that. I don't know. My mind's running 100 miles per hour. But I can tell you now that I don't know if people accepted Gorgon DLC, the Gorgon DLC, and the Murder DLC. Um, but I can tell you now with complete confidence that at least they're going to be all right. I don't think they're going to be bad. None of them are not going to hit the bad territory. They're either going to be good, really good, or okay. Because that's Bethesda. Bethesda just makes quality shit. Um, I it's funny because I'm playing this game and I'm thinking to myself like, man, this game's so cool. It looks like I thought it was I the entire time I thought this was gonna be like a one-off type deal. Obsidian kind of maybe just had the hankering to make something similar to New Vegas, but like in space. They wanted to keep the ideas original, fresh, which I totally understand. You don't want to remake the same game. Which, by the way, everyone's been clamoring for like a remaster or a remake of Fallout New Vegas, which I'm totally on board with. I still feel like there's room in the market for both games, right? You as Obsidian, you can make a remake of, I mean, I guess with Bethesda's permission, because I think they own the intellectual rights. Whatever. There's room in the market for you to make a Fallout New Vegas remake or remaster, and also a game that's like Fallout, like the Outer Worlds. Like I feel like both of them can exist. Outer Worlds too. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. What I'm saying is, the entire time I'm playing this game, and I'm like, this game's awesome. It's a good game. It's fun, and I'm enjoying it. And I'm thinking like, this is just a one-off. It's a shame that Bethesda's not going to visit this. Until I read a Wikipedia article that said 3 years ago they announced the Outer Worlds 2. So I'm like, oh fuck, it's been 3 years. I've heard nothing about it. So Outer Worlds 2 is going to come out. It made me happy because I'm like, okay, cool. We can I can hope this, even if it's not in the foreseeable future, like in the next few years. At least I know it's coming, and that makes me happy. Because this game definitely deserves a sequel. I've played many games that don't deserve a sequel, if I'm mentioning any names, and this one definitely does. I my biggest thing is I hope they really take their time with it and make it a genuine open world game. You know what I mean? Maybe tweak the combat a little bit, because to go back to Starfield, I believe Starfield's biggest strength was its combat. I've enjoyed Starfield's combat way more than I enjoyed anything else in Starfield. The exploration, the writing, the missions. I liked the combat. I like shooting shit. It felt fun flying in the air and or gliding or whatever and just shooting shit. It felt good. And it's certainly better than the Outer Worlds. Not saying that the Outer Worlds combat is bad. It's just in comparison, I think Starfield has that locked in. I think its combat is superb, while the Outer Worlds is fine. It's not bad. It's totally doable. So there's just I was talking to one of my friends recently, and I remember. Sorry, I don't know what the fuck was that. And I remember, since he's the one that played Fallout 4 for like 4,000 hours. And I remember one day me and him were having a conversation, and I was telling him that I never connected with Fallout 4. I finished it when it first came out, but then I never played it again. I tried recently. I put it on survival mode, and I just couldn't get into it. I don't know why. It's just something that just didn't seem interesting to me. As opposed to the Outer Worlds, when I first fired it up, I said, "Oh yeah, I want to play this." So, anyways, so I'm playing Fallout 4, and I remember, sorry, I'm talking to him and I'm having this conversation with him, and I'm like, damn, you really played Fallout 4 for like 4,000 hours? And he showed me the time. And I was like, yo, you really did spend that much time in Fallout. He's like, I guess that's his favorite Fallout. And he's been playing Fallout since like the first Fallouts before I even heard of him. The first Fallout I got introduced to was Fallout 3. He's played Fallout 1, 2, 3, pretty much all of them, as well as the Elder Scrolls. So for him to say 4, the one that I like the least personally, like for him to say that's his favorite, it kind of took me by surprise. But one of the things he said that he likes was the fact that the character speaks. And I was like, that is one of the things that I hate the most. I hate the fact that your character sounds all snarky, and it sounds like one of the, I said this before, it sounds like you're watching, it's like the banter in a Marvel movie. You know what I mean? Like when one of the superheroes is like, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. It's like, shut the fuck up. I'm sure I've said this joke before, but it's true. That's what I think of. I'm like, shut up. Like, I hate that banter. It's almost like they have to say, like, everything has to be snarky, and it's not really funny, but it's like, it's almost like someone's signaling, like, hey, this is a joke, laugh. Instead of just it happening organically and going, ha ha ha, that was genuinely funny, that's why I'm laughing. It's not that. It's just like, ha ha, I'm saying funny banter. Now laugh. That's what it feels like, and at least a lot of the fucking Marvel. I mean, you don't expect Shakespeare shit from Marvel movies anyway. So like I totally understand. So one of the things that I love the most about the Fallout series, because it felt mysterious when you had to pick from a list of dialogue, right? When you hear your character's voice and the way they talk, you're like, ah, I don't know. It eliminates the mystery and also the banter. It's just I hate the banter. I don't know. But anyways, it's interesting to know that that's what he enjoyed the most. So in the Outer Worlds, I'm glad that they kept that your character is not voiced. I fucking love that. That leaves more to the imagination. You can kind of read it, and for some reason, reading something through text is more impactful than hearing it. I don't know why. It's kind of like texting, right? Like You cannot tell someone's like tone of voice. You can't tell if they're joking. You can't see their body language. You're not making connection with their eyes to see if they're joking, if they're being deadpan about things. So when you read something, it's almost like your brain is going like, this is serious. So if someone jokes around while texting, a lot of times you can take it offensively. I fell on that rabbit hole before where I'm arguing with a friend because I'm like, why would you write that? That's pretty fucked up. And they're like, I'm just joking, bro. And I'm like, okay, well, if they were in person and they said that, I probably wouldn't be this upset. So it's what I'm saying is when you read something, it's just more impactful, at least to me. In my opinion. So when I have to pick through a list of dialogue when I'm playing games like Fallout 3 or like in this case the Outer Worlds, it feels more impactful when I'm reading something off of a list and clicking it. It just feels like like, and then you're kind of wondering what would your character sound like to someone else. I don't want to know the answer to that. I want to just continue wondering. But apparently I wasn't the only one that was upset at like the fall in Fallout 4 of your character having a voice. Apparently lots of people were, and I was like, great. They never do that again. And they changed it, I believe, after Fallout 4, their next Fallout title was 76, right? And I believe that they kept that in mind and they're like, okay, we're not gonna have our character have a actual voice. We're gonna have people pick from a list of dialogue. And I believe that's what they went with. At least the last time I played it, after all of the updates and stuff, you did have to pick from a list. When the Wastelanders DLC came out and the actual Wastelanders came back, um, and I enjoyed it. I said, good. I really didn't want to hear some Fallout 4 shit. Like, I don't want to hear no quippy banter, if that's an actual word, quippy. Is that a. So, the writing is top notch in Obsidian. I've said that already before. I love the characters. They're deep. I love Parvati. I believe that's her name. Isn't there like a dessert or some sort of like a Italian dish called parvati or something? Maybe it's something similar to that. Whenever I hear that name, I always think of food. Then you got Vicar Max. I like him probably the most because he's like the holy dude, which is when he gets mad, that goes out the window. He just turns into a regular bro, and there's something cool about that. It just shows that it feels real. He feels like a real person. And God, I love their writing, man. Even the funny cleaning robot, I think, what was it, Sam? Even he's funny because, like, all he talks about is cleaning, and it's like I mean, it's like you're trying to have a serious conversation about life with this robot, and he's just trying to recommend you cleaning products, and it's funny in its own way. Who else you got? Neoka. Oh god damn, I found her annoying at first when you first meet her, and it's a shame because like when you first meet Neoka, she's like this huntress that can fucking guide you, and then you can do certain guide you to this like infested area where she can help you get rid of shit. uh when you first hear her voice, it's like nails on a chalkboard. It's something super annoying about her voice, and then it turns out that she was just the voice actress was just pretending to be drunk because you meet her at the bar where she's already had a few one too many. So I understand. Once you calm her down, you get her these pills that kind of like make her sober. Her voice acting goes back to normal levels and is way more tolerable. But it was very hard for me to even speak to her because her voice just made me want to fucking like elbow a child. It was annoying. And even has an interesting story. She had her friends like she wants to get a memento from some of her friends that died, and you got to like fight this giant mantic queen at this cave, and even her I ended up liking towards the end. I was like, yeah, she's not so bad. And that's just the writing. The writing is so good that you're just like, oh man, even though she's my least favorite character in a game, the Nyoka girl, but even in the end I can say like not bad. They saved her in my opinion. And I think there's one more. Oh, what's his name, man? I don't know his name, but he's like the guy. He's like he loves tossball. He's like this rough, tough guy. He's pretty dumb. He's pretty uninteresting, but he's not annoying. He's just kind of unremarkable. I forgot his name, but his backstory's not that great neither. And I remember when I first finished the game years ago, even his ending was just like he just stood in this particular world and just worked. It was just very uneventful. Like nothing happened. He didn't make anything out of his life. He just I guess Wait a minute. That's kind of like me. That's all I do. God damn. All I do is work and home. Oh no, I'm unremarkable. Karma. Top writing is top notch. If you are familiar with Obsidian, you already know that's a given, right? You're gonna get great writing. Overall, I would, I want to finish once again. I wish I finished both of the DLC before I made this video, but coming to think about it, I wonder if I already made a video of the Outer Worlds. Holy shit, I might have. Damn, my bad. Well, anyways, this was an updated version if that's true. Um, I wish I made the video after the DLC, but I can safely say this game I would give a solid 7.5 out of 10. Maybe even 8. Maybe even 8, depending if these two DLCs that I'm currently playing pan out. But it's a great game. I mean, yeah, it feels not bite-sized, but like mid-size. So, it's not going to take you nowhere near as long as a typical Fallout game or whatever, but you're definitely gonna have fun with this one, especially you find it on sale. I bought mine for dirt cheap, the entire Spacer's Choice Edition, and I'm glad I did. That's very far and few in between. There's a game that I play, and that even though I finished, I can look at in my library amongst the other fucking hundreds of games that I've got. I can look at that game that I finished in my library and go, I'm glad that's in my collection. Like, because I know that as time, there's just specific games, and in my world, for me, I barely replay games. There's a small tiny list of games that I would go back and replay every couple of years. Skyrim is on that list. Uh this game might be on that list. You know what I mean? I think it might be on that list. I can see myself playing this game again a while from now, like maybe if I had to guess, maybe a good 7 years from now, maybe even 5. Maybe not 5, a little more than that, but this is one of those games that they're that good, and the replayability is so high, and the combination of building your characters combat and skills and their abilities, it's all I can make a melee guy. I never made a melee guy before. I could if I wanted to. And I could be the good guy for once. I'm always being the bad guy and just murdering people for money, which is extremely fun. I recommend it. And the replayability is so high, just like Fallout 3, right? I recently replayed Fallout 3, maybe 2021, I believe, and I had a blast. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I finished all of the DLC, the Mothership Zeta, Operation Anchorage, and I don't know, I forgot what the other one was. But I finished all of that. I'm thinking about going back and playing maybe New Vegas again, but I did that already. Maybe like 2015 or something like that, 2014. I think that was the last time I played New Vegas. And I wonder if I played. I think I did play like the Ultimate Edition. I don't remember. But point is, um, I do kind of want to go back and try that out at a tougher difficulty and experience the game in a whole new way and make decisions that I didn't do in the first few run throughs of the game. Good stuff, man. You can get this game on sale mostly all of the time, and it's totally worth a playthrough in a genre that I feel is not as prevalent as it used to be, like single player games. Most of the time, especially young people of today, they want to play PvP games. They want to play against someone else. They like the social aspect of it. They want to hear someone else's reactions when they're dying and when they're losing or even when they're winning. One of my coworkers told me that yesterday. He's about like 24, 25, yeah, about like 23, 24 years old. And he was telling me that like he's not big on single player games and he's not really big, even though he has been playing single player games recently. But one of them is because it's a super trendy game, which is Elden Ring. That's pretty much almost purely a single player game. And then he plays Sekiro, which I recommended. He thoroughly enjoyed because it was very similar to the Elden Ring. But that was a strictly single player game. He enjoyed that. So I was like, okay, good for you. And now he's playing God of War, which he said he's enjoying. And I'm like, good for you, man. Like, I'm glad that the younger generation is still appreciating single player games, because it's kind of lonely now knowing that multiplayer is out there, right? It's kind of lonely to jump into this world where it's just you and all of this artificial intelligence. Your AI companions are artificial intelligence. The enemies that you're fighting is artificial intelligence, and it's like it's just you. You're the only sentient thing in this whole artificial world. And I didn't never used to think like this, obviously, before multiplayer. I used to just think, wow, I'm in this crazy world, and it's moving parts, everything's dynamic, and everything is live, but now I'm just like, this is all robots, this is all AI. Um, that's okay. I'm still able to suspend belief long enough to thoroughly enjoy the game. Grab the game, man. It's fun. I recommend it. I think, yeah, I'm positive it's on Game Pass, so you probably, if you have Game Pass, you don't even have to buy it. Good stuff. And I haven't heard shit about the Outer Worlds too, but I'm glad it's there, man. Right here it says, well, I'm glad the idea of them making an Outer Worlds 2 is there. I don't know if they're actually committed or not because I haven't heard nothing since. Right here it says, what's going on here? Oh, a sequel, The Outer Worlds 2, was announced by Obsidian and its parent company, Xbox Game Studios, in June of 2021. So it's been 3 years exactly, a little over 3 years. And nothing. I haven't heard nothing. But whatever. Once again, it's okay. I know they got that Avowed game that's coming out soon, which looks. I, I don't know, man. I don't know. Honestly, now that I think about it, it kind of looks like The Outer Worlds, but just like with melee and like a medieval fantasy Outer Worlds. So it's very colorful. I didn't expect it to be that colorful. And but it looks fun, and I sure hell I'm definitely gonna give it a chance. I gotta see when that's coming out. I think it's coming out soon. Whatever. I'm glad the Outer Worlds 2 is coming, or at least it's been announced. I hope they didn't abandon that. And it's good stuff. You know, great game, good gunplay, good exploration. Although it is a little smaller from my tastes, but whatever. It's still a great game. Good stuff, man. Play when you can. Talk to you guys later.